Yo guys, it's Mike from Chess Lifestyle, and today, even though we're supposed to be training 54 minutes, we will only be training whatever the number it says on the top left hand corner, because I've got another chess lesson to teach. And somehow I've managed, I wouldn't even blame myself for like procrastinating or something, but it's just like I was gonna stream like an hour ago or an hour and a half ago, and just some random things popped up, and I just had to deal with. And it's just like, okay, now, okay, at least I'm here streaming something. I'm doing all right, Plow. All things considered, I'm having a bit of a moan, because it's 1 a.m. in the morning. But you know, whatever. Life is good in general. And what I wanted to start by saying actually is, it's actually very cool, and I'm very grateful for the friends that I have, because actually 2 different people dropped me a message to be like, yo Michael, Magnus Carlsen is playing a Benoni right now, go check out the game. So obviously, you know, if 2 people are telling me to check out the game, then like, you know, like I have to look at this, right? And yeah, this was the game. It was basically oh man, I've forgotten. I've forgotten the pronunciation of the Vietnamese player. Is it Nguyen? I don't even know. Anyway, top Vietnamese player, like super GM. And Magnus just crushes him with this Benoni, and I wanted to literally just share this game and put it into Lichess, but the share button doesn't work. I tried clicking the analysis button, it doesn't work. Chess.com just hates me. Like it just doesn't work on my laptop like half the time. So we get this line of the Benoni, which I am always very happy to see when white players go into it. I really know my stuff here. And the point is that this a5 is like a very common move, but it's just not good. And I actually had this queen b3 move played against me in the national teams championships in Hull one year. But a5 is just simply not good, because b5 is going to come at some point. It should even be played now. And Magnus goes for knight e8, which is like slightly inaccurate. I haven't even checked this with an engine, but I just know it from my past analysis of this position. So like I literally have looked at this exact position, so I know. Unless Stockfish has changed its evaluation, since. And the annoying thing is that I can't even click on the lines because it says bloody upgrade to see computer engine moves. Like it's just like, why does anyone use this crappy website? I really don't know. But yeah, like knight e8 was played, and like, okay, like I'm not gonna sit here and critique Magnus's move so much. I mean, this bishop e2, bishop f1 maneuver should have been played instead of this a5 move. But what I was really just inspired by was just how amazingly Magnus played after this. Like, the way his language was when he was just like preparing himself to sacrifice the exchange. It was like a level of chill that I just didn't know was possible. And I mean, it was interesting to hear, even like in his analysis afterwards, he said that, like, you know, he wasn't sure about the exchange. He felt like it was very difficult to give it, an evaluation. And he was like kind of gassing up the chess engine for being able to slap like a -1 evaluation and saying, yeah, it's crazy how engines can already see this far in advance. But actually, from Magnus's body language and, words, Magnus was also very confident with his exchange sack, which is something that I wouldn't have been. So I wanted to just look at this game again, because like I really wasn't quite sure. And it's interesting at this moment when he played h5. He had been looking at knight b5 for the longest time. Felt that maybe he'd have to sack the exchange, so he decided to play like a slow move instead. And then was basically like, you know what, screw it, I would play knight b5 anyway and sack the exchange. Like, it was almost like, at this moment, he felt like maybe he still had options. And then at this moment, he was just like, you know what, I don't see anything else to do in the position than to sack the exchange. And to be honest, at this point, I didn't even understand like how the exchange was going to be sacked. Like, I really didn't see it. But But yeah, I guess, yeah, he'd already foreseen that his rook was going to get trapped like this, and he just didn't care. And apparently this position is -1, which, to Magnus's surprise, as well as my surprise, it's quite remarkable that just down a full exchange and it's -1. But I guess, yeah, it's like the quality of the knight coming into e5, the quality of this bishop standing on d4. I mean, it's opposite colored bishops now, so, like, you know, that bishop's just going to be even more powerful. Yeah, and he was saying, like, he didn't mind if white counter-sacked on d4. He was, like, kind of expecting this move. And it's kind of surprising white didn't play this, because it's definitely the move I feel like you should be looking for. Yeah, and white goes for you know, a different kind of dynamic play, but it feels very good for black just to grab those 2 pawns and just improve his position. And yeah, g5 was so clean as well. Man, I just don't know. Like, it's just really impressive. Buy yourself a Snickers, average hater. Okay, let me check chat. Appreciate the donation, and I mean, is a Snickers really going to help chess.com improve its interface? I really don't know. But maybe it will improve my mood, which is the point. So I do appreciate that. In fact, actually, the last thing I ate was actually a peanut Malaysian ice cream. So I think that's as close to a Snickers as we're going to get. And clearly my mood is not, you know, that improved. But appreciate the support in any case. Welcome, Sapsara, to the stream as well. 2400 leeches rapid, let's go. Get that to 2500. Keep up the grind. Sapsar asks, is this Caius? Do you think Caius would spend a single dollar on me ever? Like, you gotta be kidding me. But yeah, it was just amazing, this game. Like how he got this past pawn rolling. Oh, it's just such a beautiful game. So basically, I'm inspired to look at some more Benoni. This is kind of like the plan. And I think this game is still a little bit mysterious to me. Like I mean, maybe this motif of playing rook b4 and just allowing the rook to get trapped on d4. Just knowing that this is possible and playable, and even playing with b4, like it just feels like my queenside has gotten so static, and then somehow Magnus just makes it work. Like, even with this being completely dead, somehow it all just works. It's like white is just one move too slow. Like, he wants to play f4 here, but he can't because of this. And by the time he plays king h1, when queen f4 comes in, it's just like... It's just so nice. Yeah, and actually this is a very cool motif, like winning these 2 pawns and then playing for c4. d5, c4, it's very nice. Modern OP, this is a modern Benoni, my dude. Modern Benoni OP. Yeah, I could look at this forever and keep being baffled. I mean, like, after queen f4, like, how does white even go about winning this? Black go about winning this, I mean. Like, if white just does nothing and just sits tight. Like, maybe the point is it's not so easy to sit tight. What if white just, like, moves his rook between b1, d1? I seem to remember that Magnus even mentioned what his winning plan was going to be on stream. I'm just not recalling it. One idea that comes to mind is just going crazy with this g-pawn. Trying to get something like this. Yeah, it does feel like that black should have something. If white just sits tight. I mean, yeah, the point is that, you know, these rooks are not playing as rooks. They're just, you know, just completely pathetic, while this knight is actually just very strong. And I mean, this bishop's just a big pawn as well. Like, yeah, it's just such a nice game, like, crazy. It's just like somehow I have this fear, like, you know, if I replicate an idea like this, it's gonna have one tiny detail difference, which then means that I'm just completely lost or something. But maybe it's just an unreasonable fear that like was maybe more reasonable when I was weaker as a player, and now I can actually understand these things a bit better. I shouldn't be so afraid. But yeah, basically, long story short, this was a fantastic game, and it's just so nice, just so nice. It's just so clean, man. Okay, let's take a look at some LeBron games. So the reason why I'm a big fan of this LeBron guy is he's like a former top 10 player, like maybe like 70 years ago. And when I looked at his Benoni games, I really felt a connection with this guy, which is kind of insane. So I wanted to learn more from his games. And I mean, you know, even if this guy like is outdated in the sense that, you know, he would lose 10-0 to any of the top 10 players in today's age. I mean, a top 10 player back 70 years ago is still an extremely strong player, which is someone I can learn from in terms of our ideas. So yeah, there's no harm in looking at his chess. And this was a game where he beat Torre, which I think I was looking at last stream and didn't continue my study of it. So let's understand it now. We were trying to understand this queen b3 idea, which apparently is no good for white in this position, despite the bishop on f4, which is contrary to my understanding. But I then realized that, you know, bishop f4 then does not defend b2, so in some lines where the queen takes on b7, we're going to be able to get some counterplay. But yeah, like yeah, this was the interesting thing, this whole dynamic of like, oh, will the knight actually get to f5 or not? Because playing g5 is kind of like a really big no-no when the bishop is not covering f5, right? Like you've traded the bishop. But it was as if like black was able to handle it with tactics, right? He played for his b5 c4, and it means that white is not in time to play 93. It was this beautiful queen a7 motif that just completely deals with this knight f5. So you got to be aware of the strategical like problem of this knight f5, but then have the tactical awareness to deal with it, basically. Yeah. LeBron James plays chess. That was my exact reaction, Averitator, and appreciate the donation again. Yeah, no, his name is I think probably it's pronounced LeBron, but we'll call him LeBron. Yeah, maybe that's why, you know, LeBron James. No, I'm not even gonna make that link. I know it's 1 a.m. and I'm super tired, but we're not gonna go there. But the joke ends there. The joke ends there. Unless Average Hater sends me another $2, in which the joke continues. I'm very easily sold. Welcome, Harshal, to the stream. Good to see you here again. Seems so difficult to play from white, literally. Rook a8 is the way to go, or maybe king g7, preparing g5, g4 at some point. Rook a8, yeah, I was considering this king g7. Where was it? We're discussing how does black continue if white does nothing here, right? If white were to just like shuffle back and forth. The line I was actually thinking was this one, to bring the rook this way, but I just thought maybe it's a little bit too much. Because of course in reality white's not going to keep shuffling if you start doing like some elaborate plan like that. But interesting you said rook a8 was the plan. I did consider it, Harshal, but I didn't really see where the rook was going because we don't have this entry point. So perhaps you can elaborate on this. Oh, my camera's not even showing my full face. Yeah, like yeah, if you can elaborate on this rook a8, like why rook a8 is so good. Like I didn't really understand, because I mean like the bishop is already dominating this a1 square. So is it simply to stop the queen coming in or something? I don't know. Average hated buying Mick a bigger box. Is a bigger box in reference to like my living space? I don't know what you mean by box, Safsara. Um, but yeah, this looks like a very nice game from LeBron. Also, I remember Average Hater giving me some like chess online goals, and I'm pretty sure it was like 2600 blitz and like 2700 bullet, and I'm still so far from that. Like my peak bullet is 2600, and my peak blitz is still only 2500. So I'm like a good 100 points off, I think, if that was the original challenge, which I don't even quite remember. Yeah, no, I think we've got, like, we understood this game pretty well. It's just a very nice game in general. Wow. I mean, the knights coming in still look extremely scary, but it looks like black just handled it very maturely. Wow, even got the rook stack in with the forced mate. Sheesh. Against Eugenio Torre. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, so this one, what would we call? How would we summarize this game? I'll put. This is the bishop e2 line. Can play g5 if we stop knight f5 with tactics. I think this is the gist. So okay, let's now take a look at another game where Eric Lobron was still an IM on his rise to fame. I mean, he basically was like this kind of like hotshot junior. So as you can see, he beat Torre, and now he's beating Lev Polagaevsky. This is insane. Like, Polagaevsky is actually a Benoni player himself. So at times, I think. And Polagaevsky is another icon of mine because he's one of these very, very top players who also stuck to his one repertoire and did not deviate. And I mean, some people criticized him. I think Kasparov even said something about how, Polagaevsky could have been like a world champion had he bothered to learn Roy Lopez. But I mean, that's easy for Kasparov to say, right? Like, I mean, I think it's really cool how like he can become like an expert in whatever he played. Yeah, deal still stands. DM me when you get it. Okay, appreciate it, Average Hater. I'll keep coming back to the challenge every time it crosses my mind. I don't know how to DM you though, but I'm sure you'll appear on the stream at some point. I mean, if you come join the Chess Lifestyle stream like once a year even, I think it'll be good to check in how that progress is going. Honestly, I reckon like in terms of reaching either 2600 blitz or 2700 bullet, I actually think I've got a really good chance of bullet. I just need like some good headspace and good timing to put in the work. I think like I've been exploring other aspects of my life recently, and actually one very interesting thing that I want to share with you guys. I actually I don't know if wasting money is like the best way to put it, but you know how therapists get like paid a shit ton for like basically just sitting there and listening. Well, I kind of paid a therapist recently, not an actual therapist, but basically there was this person who I guess like has some expertise in like some kind of like music therapy. And basically helped out a friend of mine. And I was very curious, right? Because I was very interested in like the conversation they came to, and I was like, you know what, Malaysia rates are like so cheap. I can afford this. Like, screw it. Let's spend an hour with this person chatting and see if I learn anything about myself or learn anything about her that I don't know changes something in my life for the better, right? Like I think sometimes these conversations can be worth having, and I had a fallback as well because basically we were going to meet up in this like music institute, and I was like, you know what, if it's like a literally a waste of an hour, at the very least I can like sneak into a music room and play the piano because I play the piano. And actually, yeah, it ended up being very good. And I want to share one very interesting. I mean, probably the main interesting thing that I want to kind of pursue a bit further. It's chess related as well. But the cool thing is that, yeah, this lady was really, really nice. And she says I'm welcome to come back to the music academy whenever and basically practice whenever, like for free, which is very nice because normally you need to book these music rooms and stuff. But yeah, she was like, you know, I had the impression that the music academy is kind of like less busy during school hours. So I was like, you know, if I come during school hours, is it chill? And she's like, yeah, like no problem, like come play. And it's very nice because there's also a lot of like music score sheets of you know, pieces that I used to play that, you know, I don't remember like off by heart, but like with the score sheet, then I can play it. So it's like, it's a very nice experience, right? But long story short, the really interesting kind of reflection or point that I kind of came to was that I think like with life, you want to try and reach a point where you're kind of like fulfilled from your everyday experience. Like you don't really want to, let's say, put everything on the line for a single defining moment, and then once that defining moment passes, you just go depressed immediately or something, you know? So it's like you want to kind of have like everyday fulfillment, right? At least for me personally. And I feel like something that clashes with this kind of like journey to this kind of inner peace and inner fulfillment is competitive chess. Because, you know, it's a really cancerous game and the competition is bloody awful for someone's well-being and someone's mood and someone's stability. And I was just very curious, like, how the hell do you do it? And I think this was basically one of the questions which I'm going to need to try and find out, which will help me in the long term, which is just find out from some actual professionals, like actual professional competitive players, how do they maintain their kind of daily inner peace and inner fulfillment while being a competitive tournament professional? Because I mean, for me, like the amount of like turbulence I have as a human being through competing as a player, it's so detrimental to my health more than anything else. It really like seriously, like when playing like a really stressful tournament where there are highs and lows in each game. I mean, my style of chess is already like stabilized a lot more, so I'm not as drug abused when I play these ridiculous games. But it's like still it's like really like volatile, like the effect it has on me. And yeah, it's just not healthy. Like I'm literally not even happy when I'm playing tournaments. And having said that, like come August of this year, I'm planning to play like 3 tournaments in the month of August, and then basically just try and pursue National Master and just like actually prioritize playing chess for once in my adult life. And I'm very much looking forward to it, but I know that once I start it, like I'm probably going to get a month or 2 in and just hate myself and hate everything about it. So I need to somehow like talk to someone who's actually currently a professional and see how they do it. Maybe they can't do it. Maybe that's why loads of people don't do it. And there's also that, like, you know, that Chess Base India interview of that 2700 Slovenian grandmaster who basically just quit chess and is just on like some super hippie spiritual kind of path, which I don't really want to do either. I think it's a bit too isolated from society, and I think that has its drawbacks as well. But yeah, I mean, that guy couldn't knack it. That guy literally just collapsed from the, you know, from the pressure of being a competitive player. So I think maybe some personality types can definitely knack it more than mine. But I have this feeling that there has to be someone like me who is a competitive player who's just managed to, you know, get in the right headspace to actually make it work. And I need to find whoever that is and have, you know, a decent 1-hour conversation and find out whatever the answer is to that question. So, you know, if any of you happen to know the right person, definitely put me in touch. Would appreciate that a lot. But yeah, I think that's like probably of my conversation with this musical therapist. I would say this is probably like the most insightful question that I came to from our discussion, which I don't think has crossed my mind, at least in this exact way before. So yeah, that's I guess something to try and work out. Right, yeah, exactly, Josh. I mean, I really think like chess as a competitive like activity is just incredibly grueling because of just I come back to this point a lot of like, you know, the fact that I don't think I know any sport, any competitive sport that, you know, you can make one mistake and completely bottle all the hard work you've put in for the last, I don't know, however many moves. It's like, let's say, playing football and you're winning the game 10-0, and then you make one mistake in like the 85th minute and you can just lose 11-10 in the snap of the fingers. Like, there is no other sport where it punishes you so harshly for a mistake. Like, you know, in football, if you make a mistake, the worst that can happen is you concede a goal, you get a red card. It's not like you're... You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like you can be completely winning in chess and completely lose it. So, I mean, there are so many of these kind of, like, unique pressures that the game brings. And, yeah, it's just wild. It's just wild. Like, I mean, this also is what makes it so satisfying and fulfilling to get right. So, I mean, you know, it has its pros and cons, but, yeah. Some guy asked, how much does a private lesson with you cost? I don't exactly know if I want to disclose this online. But yeah, check my Patreon. I mean, probably that's the best way to go for anyone who's like wanting lessons from me right now. I actually only have one more slot available for monthly lessons. But yeah, like if you're interested, like I think the link is in the description of the stream actually. That. You can check out the Patreon. Like there are two different tiers for two different kind of intensities of chess coaching, so you can find out all your answers there. Maybe some fighting sports. Yeah, maybe that's a good point. Yeah, actually no. Like maybe boxing is a really good example, right? Like you could be winning the whole match each round. You've won every single round, and then in the 11th round out of 12, you just get knocked out and you lose, right? So you'd also have that kind of like very, yeah, like you can be winning and then just lose in an instant kind of situation. Yeah, maybe boxing is a good one to compare. Okay, no problem, some guy. Appreciate the thought. So Sarah says, I know 15-year-old international master friend if you want to chat to him. Yeah, should I have a 1-hour conversation? To be honest, I mean, that would be a pretty sick content video of me just speaking to a 15-year-old I am, who is, you know, huge, massive amounts more advanced in terms of chess. But I would like to think that I am the equivalent of I am to him in terms of like understanding of life. Maybe I'm not, but I'd like to think 11 years of extra experience on this planet has something to say for it. So I think it could lead to a very interesting conversation. I mean, if he's down and wants to make a chess lifestyle video, Safsara, like, I could potentially be down. I think it could be cool. So up to you. I mean, up to you if you want to bother your friend about it and see if he's game. I think it could be an interesting one. But yeah, let's have a look at another LeBron game. So we got Knight's Tour. Oh, and he plays 97. This guy literally plays my repertoire. So this is one of the important Benoni rules that after you play g6, you do not want to just auto-play bishop g7 next. It really depends on what white is playing. Sometimes you play for a6, sometimes you play bishop g7. And on 92 for Knight's Tour, it's very nice, very simple to play knight d7 because you don't have to worry about this extra line of knight c4 where there's a quick attack on d6, because with knight d7 you can always meet knight c4 with knight b6. And even though the queen never comes to b6 in the Benoni is you know, it's semi-closed, right? So it actually doesn't matter so much that the queen is misplaced. You're going to be able to spend a tempo or even two tempi to bring the queen back to where it's desired. So the fact that you actually get to trade a minor piece is more of a strategical benefit than the fact that your queen is like slightly misplaced. So e4 is played, which is the main move. Bishop e7, bishop e2. And I'll be very curious to see if he plays the main line. I don't even know what the main line was back, 70 years ago, right? So castles, rook e8 is the main line, and knight e5, he plays the main line. So wow, this Benoni main line has been a main line for this long. But having said that, I don't like this main line, and I would have been very curious to see how Mr. Eric Lobron would have faced this trendy knight b1, which I absolutely hate because it kind of breaks all of Black's understanding and principles in this setup, because we can't now prevent this f4 idea with g5 due to the opening of his bishop. This is a very annoying move, and we have to play some like engine like play to equalize. And so I don't like the main line. I don't like playing rook e8, knight e5. I've got some other stuff that I play instead. But b3 is very unusual. I don't really see this being played so much. And yeah, the fact that Lev Polegevsky is just allowing b5 is just absolutely insane to me. So yeah, I guess LeBron is playing it like a modern day player. Oh, g5 as well. Like playing it like a modern day player, and Lev Polegevsky is making these strategical errors. Rook a7, very nice. Bringing it to e7. Bring the knight to f4. Oh my god. What a beautiful man. What would be my plan here, actually? Let's have a quick think. What would be my plan? I do like the fact that like I have a lot of support over the f5 square. Like the worst case scenario is like if, let's say, I didn't have this knight and they were able to play knight b6 and trade off this bishop and then sink a knight into f5. This is what we must avoid. But how are we actually improving this position? A part of me wants to believe that rook e5 would just be an improvement for black, right? Like this Magnus idea, but yeah, I should probably not just give up an exchange for no reason, and they don't even have to take it even, so it's just kind of a bit unnecessary. But I have this feeling that maybe playing with f4 is nice. I don't know if like provoking g3 is something that we want though. Like maybe this encourages them to actually play for f4 themselves, which I don't think I want to allow. I think this area of my Benoni is like what needs improving the most. It's kind of like this what to do after the opening stage, where I think sometimes I drift in the wrong direction. But I actually don't see what the right play is for black here. I mean, it could be, if we play knight f4, do we want to take this bishop? Maybe we do actually. If we remove the number of pieces that are controlling this f5 square, then maybe I can make the f5 break. Like, let's say I play this and I get to take. Am I threatening to push f5? Because there is some pressure on this file, right? So maybe I would be, right? Maybe some knight takes, bishop takes. Well, okay, on knight takes I can probably already take this, right? So maybe this is why I played knight f4 and f5. Let's go, chat. Let's go. Knight f4, f5. You legend. And yeah, the reason why you can play f5 now is because the queen has moved off this line, I guess. Wait, but why can't he take? Also, welcome Milan to the stream. I don't think you know much about other sports. In cycling, one tiny error, and you're seriously injured. I mean, yeah, injury is definitely, I guess, like, a factor that is, like, in terms of, like, career-ending stuff, then yes, that can be a factor. But in terms of actual gameplay, no, I don't think so. I think my point still stands that, like, in most sports, you don't have mistakes that are so, like, you know, detrimentally punished. But, yeah, anyway, like, I don't see much value in necessarily arguing this one. This Tour de France with the crashes early on. Yeah, maybe cycling with crashes. Maybe crashes is a good point. But it still feels less intrinsic to the game. I mean, I feel like blundering and mistakes are very intrinsic to the game of chess, whereas like these kind of crashes are kind of like, you know, these anomalies that I guess happen still semi-frequently, but they're not really part of cycling, right? At least that's not how I would see it. Yo, Benjamin, KL is good. I am missing the food in Penangvo. I must admit that. Hope nobody from KL is watching. But yeah, truth be said. I'm actually going to be meeting up with Hong on Friday, which is tomorrow? No, in a couple of days. So that's going to be a vibe. Okay, Ilana, I don't know cycling. I will wholeheartedly admit that I am a 200 elo in cycling, so I won't debate you on this one. How do you find so many Benoni ideas? I didn't know the knight b1. It was cool. It's just from experience. Heat. I remember I was playing a friend of mine, I think in a training game, or maybe even just like maybe we went to the same tournament and he played it against me, and I was like, yeah, what is this knight b1? But yeah, it's apparently some new trendy line, and just like there's so many main moves that are all so similar in this main line, and it's just absolutely horrific to play. And I remember I played in the Blackpool Open like in 2023, early 2023, and I played Martin Mitchell, who is this like 2200 player. And I remember like I really knew this main line very well, and he played a suboptimal line, and I remember outplaying him, but then he played like another weird move that kind of threw me off. And this was all part of his preparation. Like, he knew that it was equalizing. He knew it was bad. But if you play it in the style of a Benoni, and you play it in terms of the understanding of the Benoni, then you can actually slip up. And I was just like, screw this shit, man. Like, I don't want to be like entering into my opponent's like deep preparation where my intuitive moves are actually wrong. Like, heck no, I don't want that. So I'm gonna play something a bit more offbeat that I understand, that, you know, even if it gives up a little bit of objectivity, I'm not dealing with this kind of crap. So yeah, thanks Benjamin. Have a good night for you as well. Let's keep going with this game. So I was still trying to work out why e takes f5 is not a possibility. I mean, could it be as wild to say? I was thinking for a second, again, like Magnus has opened my eyes to these exchange sacrifices. I'm wondering if like maybe I can take on e3. The only problem is that like if I take on e3, they can take with the knight and keep defending this pawn twice. And the queen is now defending on e1, so I don't really have... if they take... Yes, I can take on d3, which then, dislodges the queen from its protection, and then I can take on f5. Okay, makes sense. Let me just double check that's really the case. So if they take, I can take on d3 indeed, and then take on f5. Okay, perfect. Yeah. But okay, apparently this position is +2. But somehow, LeBron the legend manages to turn it around. Oh my god, knight h4. Jesus. Imagine beating a 2600 player with knight h4. What a cold shower. Wow. I mean, knights and queens are very famous for delivering checkmate, so kind of not surprising. But yeah, this is knight's tour main line. But also, white played it very badly. I mean, to allow b5 just for free, it's like really crazy. But again, interesting how LeBron blocks up the queenside like this. I said LeBron again. I mean, no, it was Magnus. Magnus who blocked up the queenside like this and still managed to generate some serious play. Cool that I managed to find this knight f4, f5 idea. That's good. And then he plays h5, plays on the king side. Yep, there's a mass trade. Crazy game. Yeah, okay, interesting. So let me call this Knight's Tour. Knight's Tour mainline. Nice knight f4 jump plus attack. Okay, it's 5:51. I've probably got time for like one final game, so I guess we'll take a look at this. And we see LeBron playing against an opponent who's weaker than him. So this is interesting to see how he's going to handle this. Okay, we get Knight's Tour again, and okay, LeBron is playing this 97. This is very cool. Are we going to get the main line again? We do get the main line again. This time White has played with a4, which is better. And Knight g4, yeah, that's a very typical kind of move, especially when f2 is weakened a bit. I can see how this game might go with Queen h4, indeed. Bishop just drops back to d7. I mean, this position's quite nice, actually, for black. Yeah, I mean, if I got this kind of position more, I think I'd keep playing the main line. Wow, so you don't take on e4? And you play rook f8 instead. That's a really surprising move to me. Huh. So I guess if you take the pawn on e4, you are a pawn up. But maybe you don't have as much of an attack as if we play rook f8. So what exactly is rook f8 achieving? I guess we're threatening, if the rook moves off the f-file, we're threatening to come into f2. We're also threatening the rook on f1. Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I'm appreciating how strong it is. And, you know, there's never ever any time to take on a7 here because we're gonna come into f1. So, yeah, looks like a very strong move. Rook f2, I'm assuming. Yep, there we go. And let me try and think what the finish might be. My instinct is to just double rooks, rook af8, and then think. I have a quick look as rook takes g2 winning on the spot. Rook g2, king g2, queen f2. Probably not. I think rook af8. Yep, there we go. And now rook takes g2 needs to be calculated. Rook g2, king g2. Rook f2 check. King H1 probably. Do we ever move that? Don't see the follow-up. What else can we play? I mean, rook f8 to f3 also looks pretty strong. Because if pawn takes, then we just go queen takes h3, queen g2. So rook f8 to f3. Yeah, that looks very, 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 very strong. I think that must be winning. Yeah. Good. Okay, that's a bit of a surprise. Am I satisfied with just taking the queen and playing out that position? I mean, if I take the queen, probably they take... Yeah, I mean, they have to take back with the rook that's hanging. And then... Probably I've got queen takes e4. And I'm hitting g2. Maybe that's exactly the line. Rook takes queen, rook d4 takes d3, queen takes e4, and white resigns. I don't see a good move. Maybe white can play rook g3 there? I wonder. Oh, just on the... Okay, I've got like 3 minutes to finish this game and also just speak my mind on this topic. But when I was talking about like the music therapist, let's call her that. One thing I actually very much dislike about some of these people who believe that they have a lot of expertise in a certain kind of field is that very often, once they think that they understand something, they will try and impose this opinion no matter what you say. And it's like a very annoying trait that I've also noticed with like some doctors, for instance, where like, let's say they think that you've got a certain type of like disease or something. And even if, let's say, you tell them all the symptoms that you have that are opposite to that disease or illness, they will keep trying to circle back. Or at least, okay, not all doctors, but I mean, it's kind of like some kind of like superiority complex where it's just like, there's, I don't know, it's like they're trying to like gaslight you into thinking that like something is like it isn't. And like twist your words somehow. So this was something about this meeting that I didn't so much appreciate, but it also gave me more confidence that I know exactly how I feel about the topic that I have in mind about this thing. All I'm trying to say is that, like, you know, be a bit careful with like opening up to people and you know, sharing certain vulnerable topics, because, you know, you need to also be quite mentally strong with where you stand on such topics, because you don't want to be like too easily swayed by people who just kind of want to enforce their opinion on whatever it is you're sharing with them. And I don't think, you know, having a certificate necessarily means that you're not going to be an asshole about it. So I think just be careful, really, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I don't see the win. I would just take the queen. Oh, we just take the rook. I mean, that's so smart. Because you still can't take the rook on f3, so we just take the rook. Okay, that's completely win. Oh, that's annoying. I missed that. I got too sidetracked. Let me check. Is rook takes d3 still enough to be winning here? Okay, still -3, so it's not like, you know, I completely choked or something. But yeah, c takes d4, so it's such a better way to do it. Let me just make sure I completely understand that. So queen takes f3, pawn takes queen takes f3, rook takes. Yeah, and the point is if pawn takes, then I give check. How am I? I want to pick up this rook, but I don't exactly see how. And I've got 1 more minute before I need to go. Check. Yeah, I don't quite get this. And just resignation here. I mean, I didn't quite see how we won this rook. Oh, it's just d3. That's very nice. Okay. Okay, nice though. This was a very clean game. Almost makes you want to revert back to this this main line. This rook f8 was really fantastic actually. I'll put for this one Knight's Tour, initiative over material. Yeah, this rook f8 was very cool, and the finish was quite nice, and I'm glad we saw some of these moves in the process. But yeah, guys, I gotta head off and teach a chess lesson. Can't believe this channel is still running. You know, Dylan, I actually had a message about you from a new Patreon subscriber, actually. So I'll share that with you a bit later. But unfortunately, guys, I've got to get running. Are there any quick questions I can answer? Lots of top chess players are also ignorant about anything outside of chess. Yeah, that's a whole topic we need to get into another time. But yeah, why do you choose LeBron games? Because I think he's a very strong player that shares a very similar style to me. And I think as soon as you can find a player that is like that, you can really learn a lot from analyzing their play. But yeah, I really gotta go. So see you guys in another stream sometime. Thanks everyone for tuning in. And of course, for OG Dylan Mize. Okay, adios guys.